Hi Ben, so this is what I would suggest we could try for the next few weeks. So we'll start hands and knees. As always, just check in with the breathing and the abdominals. So as you breathe out, the belly button draws up. As you breathe in, you're going to try and hold the belly up as you breathe in, so there's no relax. So with the breathing pattern, you suck the tummy up round the tailbone, let the head just release and let your shoulders relax, just for a warm up. And then as you lengthen the spine, keep the abdominals gently braced and breathe in. We're not going into the release or cow back. So your tailbone drops down, your head releases, and you're just breathing out. It's obviously the very obvious. Try and get lots of stretch and strength, of course, and then lengthen the body, don't relax. So that would be your warm-up, 5-6 times. While we go through this video, you can obviously stop it, start it. Once you've seen it the first time, you'll know what we're doing anyway. So let's do another one, breathing out, hollowing the tummy up. And then coming back to a long, lengthened position. Quadruped, knees are in line with your hips and your shoulders are right above your hands, so not too wide. Zip up the belly button. Lengthen one leg, you know this one. Lengthen the opposite arm, and as you lift, check that the spine hasn't moved. What you can do is place a ball or something on your back, just to remind you to keep everything really steady. And then simply come back in, you know this again. So as we transfer the weight from leg to leg, arm to arm, check the transference is the still bit. So rather than just holding it here, which you've checked in with, when you come in, try not to relax and then go up. So it's the transference what you're controlling. So slide your knee in, tuck it underneath the hip, and go again the other side. You want the transference to be as quiet as possible. Just notice this here. So place a ball or anything like that on your back, just to remind you to keep it as steady as possible on the swap over. Because obviously this is our walking pattern. Getting the glutes to kick in and all that. So once you've got that all checked in, again, belly button up to spine, spine nice and long. You're going to take one leg, just like we've been doing, then add in the knee, the back stretch. So knee coming in towards your elbow, and then we're reaching back out, breathing out. Remember, no dip, no release. So that controlled in and out. I'd say 4 on each side. Breathe out, hug up and under. Breathe in, reach away. I'm also checking the video because what I was about to say is make sure your hand and your foot are in line and not too high up or down. When you swap over, maintain that control. Nice and quiet through the spine. Same goes, other leg. Scoop under, curl the tailbone in. Just let the head release, don't tuck it right the way under, just let it release. But then scoop it up and under, as always, to lengthen out. Scoop up. So the power comes from the abdominals first. And at the moment, just because we're doing it, we're making a conscious effort to think stomach up, to draw the knee towards you. Four times, or 5. Knees down, of course. And I bet you know this one. Always take time to release. I'm just going to show you in between times. There's the parasympathetic system, as you well know, releases, relaxes. So this is a great one. If you feel, you're getting a bit worried or uncomfortable, if you breathe out like a sigh, and breathe in. As you breathe out, the release happens in the hip flexors and in that system, and come back up. And you don't have to sit down, you can just sort of rock and release. You're kind of sending that message to release the hip that pulls on the lower back. So we're releasing this, hip flexors. So, and what I was thinking and might suggest is that this one that we did on the elbows after last session is really quite intense. So sliding the shoulders down the back is always what we want. Drawing the tummy up from within, the belly button up from within. This is where I think it gets quite intense because it's holding the weight of your body. We're not going anywhere near lifting the knees or anything. And then coming back down again. So I think that layered on top of all the foam roller stuff was probably just too much too soon. So if you draw the shoulders down, zip up the stomach, remember to keep breathing once you feel that lift in the belly. Check that you're not dropping and rounding, that the shoulders slide down, the head comes forward, and the belly button comes in. And while I'm chatting, we're holding for about 10 seconds or something. If you start to feel a pulling, that's probably enough. It's the muscles going. So let's go again. I did 3 sets, 10 maybe, 10 seconds. Remember to keep breathing, gliding the shoulders down. I'm looking for sideways, but do look forward. Relax your jaw and your neck. Keep that feeling of drawing up and into the ribs and under the hip bones. And release. It might be a good idea before we turn over to release. So as you'll probably notice, I did this as your warm-up on the hands and knees instead of the bridge. So if you turn around now, thinking that after the strength training, you could then mobilise instead of doing them the opposite way around. So I gave you this as your warm-up last time, and I would say this one can now be your sort of mobility training, if you like. This is the one that we call bridging, and you could do it on the noodle. Let's start without, as in not start, as in carry on without. Flatten the tummy, remember it's a hollowing sensation, not a pushing. And then peeling the tailbone up until you feel that squeeze in the glutes rolling up through the mid-shoulders. Widen the shoulders, open the chest, feel like you're trying to stick the back of the shoulder blades down. And then hollow the tummy back again and roll nice and steadily down. Once you feel comfortable with that, let's do another one. Breathing out. A relaxed jaw, a relaxed throat. Reach the kneecaps forward, but there is a sandwich feeling, stomach to glutes. And then roll it down. Excuse me. If you're in the living room or something like that, wherever you are, put your feet on the side of the bed, put your feet on the I'm saying foot bar, on the coffee table, side of the sofa. So your feet are a little bit raised. This will help the upper back. So widen the shoulders, do exactly the same movement. And as you come to the shoulder blades, zip the tummy in and just lengthen the neck. So we're working a little bit higher, not onto your neck, not onto your head, but into the shoulders, the tip of the shoulder blades. And then release the chest and lay the vertebrae down, working at moving from the back of the chest through each rib, and then the regular bit down into the lower back. And I'm saying regular bit because we tend to hone our attention in where it hurts. Let's kind of slide over that bit, don't force it too much, but focus a little bit more on the upper back, which is why it's nice to have the hips high, feet high, so the hips will go higher. And then just release it down with very much a sighing type of motion. So I'm just going to go another one. Of course you can stop the video, carry on, should feel good. I would suggest that this one wouldn't be taxing because the glutes are really kicking in. It'd be nice and strengthening. And I know you know the obvious. So place your feet down. I would say up a little bit higher if you can. If you're here, it doesn't matter. This is a progression, oddly, for the next exercise. Feet higher is easy. Next exercise is controlled spinal position. We chatted about it, the neutral spine. The imprint is where you're protecting and lengthening the back, but you're not training it. The release into a neutral inward curve of the spine is where we're kind of starting to train. I would suggest here to give yourself a little bit of a head lift so that breathing is comfortable. So do have a head lift. Zip into all those muscles that we've been training on hands and knees, but check that your lower back doesn't press down. So now you're going to keep that gentle curvature or hollow in the lower back and zip in the ribs as you pick up one foot. Now with your foot higher, there's not so much, it's easier. So put it down and then pick up the other foot. There should be absolutely no reaction, popping in the tummy. I should move my hands. Popping in the belly. Lift up one leg and lower down. If you put your hand on your tummy, the weight of the leg is being held by the abdominals holding the back. So lift up one leg. If your feet are high like mine, lift up the second leg and see if you can keep the tummy flat underneath your hand. Put down the first leg, put down the second. This is the same amount of training that was on the elbows. So this one is training for the lumbar spine and the tummy. So you're training those belt muscles, transverse abdominals. That's it. If you feel you can happily hold the tummy in against the spinal curve, then do by all means take your feet back on the floor and then lift your foot from the floor. The reason being is holding the tummy in. As you put one leg down, you're going to swap to the other leg. So there's a second where both legs are in the air. We're really stepping slowly and gently. I just don't want you to be in discomfort. So as one leg goes down, zip the stomach in, and for that second of swap, there's a grab in the belly in the back. There you go. So this, we call it femur arcs. Abdominal training, you can Google it, transverse abdominal training, Pilates, femur arcs. So there you go. This is where you're getting to. 10, 12, 30 seconds. 10, 12 reps, 30 seconds. The ideal, you can do this daily because it's not hard, it's just focused. If you find you get a bit achy and that horrible thing happens, hug your knees in the following day, don't do that one, but do the others. That's what I would suggest. There you go. And then obviously you're massaging, you're hugging, and remember, try not to come up like that. Try and roll sideways, I'm sure you know this, and then you can come onto your knees or hands. I hope that helps.